Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Janaba Girivara Dhari Sari Jaya Radha Anda Bihari Radha Jaya Madhava Kundihari Radha Hare Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Prabhupada 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 Paramahamma Divine Grace Shastri Ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai Nitai Gauramanande. All glorious the assembled devotees, glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru to Sri Gauranga, all glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandana Shalakaya Tanmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurma Ham Parakamala Sajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Sahano Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Pika Bhagavatam 3:8, 38. Yes. So Veda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Viryasya Rathanga Panehe Yo Amayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tat Pada Saroja Gandham Saveda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Virasya Rathangapanehe Yomayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tatada Sarojagandham Saveda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Viryasya Rathanga Panehe Yomayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tatpada Sarojagandham Saveda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Viryasya Ratanga Panehe Yomayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tatpada Sarojagandham Saveda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Viryasya Ratanga Panehe Yomayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tatpada Sarojagandham Saveda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Viryasya Rathanga Panehe Yomayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tatpada Sarojagandham Saveda Dhatu Padavim Parasya Duranta Virasya Rathanga Panehe Yomayaya Santataya Nuvritya Bhajeta Tatpada Sarojagandham Saha He alone Veda can know Dhatu of the Creator Padavim glories Parasya of the Transcendence Duranta Viryasya of the greatly powerful Rata Anga Panehe of Lord Krishna who bears in his hand the wheel of a chariot. Yaha, one who, amayaya, without reservation, satataya, satataya, santataya, without any gap, anuvritya, favorably, bhajita, renders service, tatpada, of his feet, sarojagandham, fragrance of the lotus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. 38. Okay. I'm just looking at when Narada Muni will appear. Just around the corner. So the translation, only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the Creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Kind of repeat after me. Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the Creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Purport. Only the pure devotees can know the transcendental name, form, and activities of Lord Krishna, due to their being completely freed from the reactions of fruitive work and mental speculation. The pure devotees have nothing to derive as personal profit from their unalloyed service to the Lord. They render incessant service to the Lord spontaneously, without any reservation. Everyone within the creation of the Lord is rendering service to the Lord indirectly or directly. No one is an exception to this law of the Lord. Those who are rendering service indirectly, being forced by the illusory agent of the Lord, are rendering service unto him unfavorably. But those who are rendering service unto him directly, under the direction of his beloved agent, are rendering service unto him favorably. Such favorable servitors are devotees of the Lord, and by the grace of the Lord, they can enter into the mysterious region of transcendence by the mercy of the Lord. But the mental speculators remain in darkness all the time. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Himself guides the pure devotees toward the path of realization due to their constant engagements, in the loving service of the Lord in spontaneous affection. That is the secret of entering into the kingdom of God. Fruitive activities and speculation are no qualifications for entering. Translation again. Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the Creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Unreserved, uninterrupted. Srila Prabhupada was speaking about Kamsa. Kamsa was actually engaged in uninterrupted thoughts of Krishna. So in that sense, he was like Krishna conscious. But the favorable aspect was not there. He was not thinking of Krishna all the time favorably. He was plotting how to kill, how to destroy Krishna. So unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service. That is, of course, also mentioned in the very well-known verse that is often quoted, Savai pumsam paro dharmo jato bhaktir dhok saje ahaitukiya pratihata yagatma suprasidati. Without any material motivation and without any interruption, one should engage in devotional service. The translation or the text itself is referring to Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of a chariot. How come Krishna carries the wheel of a chariot? Yes. What comes to mind, that comes to mind, of course, immediately, the very famous scene on the Battle of Kurukshetra. And it reminds, because Krishna picked up that broken wheel with his right hand, and it reminded us of chakra, Sudarshan chakra, isn't it? Yeah, a big one. A big Sudarshan Chakra, yeah. Because Krishna normally we see he doesn't need a big one actually. You know, it's just like Balaram when he entered the assembly in Naimisharanya. So everyone recognized Balaram, and therefore they um, they stood up, offered their obeisances, except for one person. Yeah, Ramaharshan, who thought, well, he because he was like the eldest, um, the main person. He was the main person before Balaram came. But you know, things are constantly changing. If somebody more senior comes, then you're no longer the main person, right? So because he didn't get up, what did Balaram do? No, how did he kill him? With a blade of grass. Very unusual to kill someone with a blade of grass. So, uh, yes, that means this example is given here of Lord Krishna holding the chariot of the wheel because that particular lila, that particular pastime is a very profound pastime, and therefore two things, one who knows about the pastime and especially one who knows the significance. Many people see, this picture of Krishna, famous picture of Krishna dashing, running towards grandfather Bhishmadev, and he's about like losing his cloth because he's running very fast, and he's sweating. We see also Krishna is sweating. How can the Supreme Personality of Godhead be sweating? And also blood is coming. Yeah, blood is coming. Transcendental blood. Transcendental blood is coming from Krishna's body. So this is like, and grandfather Bhishmadev, he's like motionless, right? He's looking, he's like totally amazed. Uh, and not only amazed, but he's in total ecstasy. Wow. He's like, Krishna, he broke his promise. Krishna wasn't supposed to take any weapons, but now he has this big wheel, with this big chariot wheel in his hand. And he's going to kill me. He's coming. He's running towards me to kill me. And and this is what grandfather Bhishmadev on his bed of arrows, this is what he remembered. He remembered this particular scene which brought tears to his eyes actually. Because he was in that kind of rasa or relationship with Krishna, fighting relationship. Yes, virya. So this is, of course, in connection with what Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, that those who are able to understand the transcendental nature of my appearance and my activities, janma karma chame divyam, evam joveti tattvataha, those who understand, who know this deeply in truth, tyaktva dhyam punar janma, now they're confused. It's raining. Tyaktva deham punar janma, naiti mam eti sorjana. Yeah. So this is being pointed out here that in order to enter the kingdom of the Lord, in order to come back to Krishna fully, then one must rise above these two stumbling levels or stumbling blocks. What are the two stumbling blocks that prevent people from entering the kingdom of Krishna? The two levels in which the vast majority of people in the material world are caught up, are engaged in. One is fruitive activities, isn't it? And one is mental speculation. So these are obstacles. One must completely give up or reject all activities of fruitive activity. What does fruitive activity mean? I do something to get some fruit. I do something to get some result. I am materially motivated. I have some, yeah, means I am thinking about me. I perform activity for my pleasure, for my satisfaction. And if I don't derive, if I will not get pleasure and satisfaction, then I won't perform that activity. But so Prabhupada and the purport are also making this nice point that actually everyone is engaged in Krishna's service, either directly or indirectly. Yeah. That's why those who are Paramahamsas, that is their vision. That actually everyone is engaged in Krishna's service, you see. According to their desire. If one is having material desire, Krishna engages them in his service indirectly. Then we become, it means that service is something we cannot avoid, isn't it? Because that is our nature, our constitutional nature, constitutional position. So what are the two kinds of service? Chinmay, what are the two kinds of service that the living entity can have in the material world? What are the two kinds of seva? One is, if one is a devotee of Krishna, he will do some Krishna seva, right? Yeah. And if one is not a devotee of Krishna, he will do what kind of seva? Huh? Killing animals. Unfortunately, that is one of many sevas that one will do. That is called Maya seva. Either we do Krishna seva or we do Maya seva. Because the material world is called the kingdom of whose kingdom? Maya's kingdom. We are living in Maya's kingdom. And therefore, when someone becomes a devotee, he doesn't feel right. He doesn't feel that he's in the right place, living in the kingdom of Maya. But by cultivation of transcendental knowledge, we learn the art. We learn the art of converting or changing the kingdom of Maya into the spiritual kingdom, isn't it? In other words, the pure devotee also sees that as soon as something becomes connected to Krishna, that becomes no longer material. It becomes a spiritualized. So Prabhupada speaks in the purport about what level of service, will qualify us, will enable us to again connect with Krishna or to enter the kingdom of Krishna. One word especially he uses in the purport, which is describing one particular level of seva, of favorable seva, spontaneous, that raganuga, yeah. Before raganuga bhakti, what is that called? Before raganuga. And what is another word? Vaidhi. Vaidhi bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti precedes raganuga bhakti. And raganuga bhakti precedes bhava bhakti. And where are we going? I mean, what is our destination? What kind of bhakti are we looking for? Prema bhakti, isn't it? Yeah. So it is a long journey, actually, from the lower level. What does it mean, Daivi bhakti? Not Daivi bhakti. Huh? Vaidhi, yeah. There's Daivi bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti. So Vaidhi. Vaidhi bhakti means the beginning level or stage of rules and regulations. One who cannot become fixed in Vaidhi bhakti, he cannot expect to come to Raganuga bhakti or Bhava bhakti or Prema bhakti. And without coming to those levels, we cannot go back to Krishna's kingdom. And where does Vaidhi bhakti begin? It begins at Mangalarati. Yeah. Sadhana bhakti begins at Mangalarati, isn't it? Because it's only in Mangalarati we can hear. If we are still unconscious, we cannot hear. So this sadhana is extremely important because the vast majority of conditioned souls in the material world can attain the position or the level of mukti through sadhana. And what is that called? Sadhana siddha. There is sadhana siddha. There is nitya siddha. There are three ways to become siddha. Siddha means perfected. That is different. Swarup siddha is the same as nitya siddha. Nitya siddha means our swarup, our identity is known. What are the three types of siddha? Sadhana siddha, for the vast majority of people, 99.9.9 unlimitedly, ad infinitum. And those who are nitya siddha, the vast majority of people in the category of nitya siddha, they never come in the material world. Just like the vast majority of people, let's say in a country, they never go to jail. Did you ever go to jail? I went to jail. I won't tell you. It was an accident. Sometimes people go to jail by accident. Uh, I went to jail by accident one time. Maybe one day I'll tell you about it. I say 2 days. Yeah. Anyways, so sadhana siddha, nitya siddha. Then there is another one. Huh? Kripa siddha. Kripa. Kripa means by some special mercy, either special mercy of the Lord or special mercy of the pure devotee. This, like Srila Prabhupada, by his mere presence and by traveling and making available a Krishna consciousness all over the world by traveling, that was his special mercy upon many devotees. Of course, the vast majority of devotees, those who became devotees, they had to take up sadhana. Yeah, so this is being explained here that we must come to that level of spontaneous. So that means that in the beginning we are not spontaneously getting up in the morning. We are not spontaneously chanting our rounds. We are not spontaneously attentive during Bhagavatam class. So many, actually, vast majority of whatever we're doing, we're not. We have to follow a schedule. We have to become, in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada introduced regulated lifestyle. In the Vedic culture, this is very important, to become regulated. What does it mean to become regulated? To follow rules and regulations, to follow rules and regulations, to have some schedule. When Srila Prabhupada was traveling, he always followed those who were his secretaries. Prabhupada had different secretaries and they have written in their diaries. So Prabhupada was always very, very punctual. He would take his morning walk every morning and it was at a fixed time and he would always come back in time for darshan. And so that is called, in English, punctuality. We'll speak about punctuality a little bit this morning because this was lacking this morning. And not only this morning. What are the two most important qualities for someone who aspires to become a pujari? Napat? What are the two most important qualities? Prabhupada spoke about this a lot. Anyone actually who goes on the altar must possess these two essential qualities. I mentioned one of them. Punctuality. Punctuality is a big word for some people, maybe. Punctuality means to be on time. to be very, uh, very conscientious, very aware that the conch shell has to blow at a certain time. The deities have to be cared for at a certain time. I must rise at a certain time. I must take rest at a certain time. So punctuality is one of the foremost qualities for pujaris, especially. It is also important actually for any devotee, but especially for a pujari. Why? Because a pujari is directly serving the Lord. So punctuality is most important. Second quality, yes, cleanliness. Because Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram. The Lord is Pavitram, the purest. Mm. And another word, of course, is Saucham. Saucham is one of the four pillars of Dharma. Satyam, Daya, Tapa, Saucham. Saucham. So we cannot, the spiritual world is completely pure, transcendental. Transcendental means pure. We cannot expect to go back to the spiritual world if we are not pure. Yeah. So that purity means cleanliness inside, in terms of our mind, what we are thinking, and cleanliness outside, in terms of, yeah, okay. But you cannot see it. You have to, yeah. Getting better. Yeah. Cleanliness is, I remember in the early days, that's how it was. The first time I entered a temple, the first time I visited a center, it was something very, we say, outstanding. It was very obvious. It was outstanding how everything in the temple room and in the house, because it was a house, was like we say spotless, immaculate, was very, very clean because the devotees, they took that instruction from Prabhupada very seriously. And so those who joined as new devotees, they would need to spend a few hours every day just cleaning the temple, cleaning the doors of the temple, cleaning the walls of the temple, cleaning the cracks in between the wall and the floor, cleaning, and more cleaning. And we were told that the more you clean the floor, the more you clean your heart. See? So that's why a temple is meant to be a reflection of the spiritual world. Prabhupada described these temples as oases. What's an oasis? Oasis in the desert. It's a place where, normally in the desert, there's no water. But they have certain places when people travel. There are some places where travelers can stop and they can have some food and some water. Yeah, it's called oasis. So temples are like oasis in the material world where people can come, have darshan of the Lord, and where that place is like the spiritual world. Prabhupada actually describes our temples as being non-different from the spiritual world. So that means that this is the kind of consciousness that a serious devotee develops. These are two essential qualities that one must have. He must be punctual, regulated. One cannot be punctual unless one is regulated. Yeah. And one must be very uh, clean. Cleanliness is directly connected with purity. Pure. Yeah. Unalloyed. Actually, the devotees, where does this word unalloyed come from? Probably, Srila Prabhupada uses that word, but it's raining. Prabhupada used many different words, and all of these words have a particular connection or history. So the devotees in New York, they did not immediately know or understand how it is that Prabhupada used the word unalloyed. But one day, Prabhupada actually took the devotees to uh, where he had first come, and Prabhupada one day told the devotees, let's go for a car ride. Everyone likes to go for a car ride, right? So anyway, the devotees were very excited. We're going, devotees were always very enthusiastic about getting an opportunity to be with Prabhupada. So a bunch of devotees, a group of devotees went with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was telling them where to turn, where to go. And they didn't. Then they ended up at the port area, Commonwealth Pier. And then they saw, because there's one large building, and on the wall, it's a factory, I believe, a steel factory. And there was a huge, uh, writing on the building advertising that factory. And the word unalloyed steel was there. Unalloyed. Alloy is some metal. When it is 100% steel, it is called unalloyed. So Prabhupada, he picked up on this and he connected that with unalloyed devotional service. Means no mixture of karma and jnana. Yeah. So this is the meaning of pure bhakti or pure devotional service, without any mixture, without any kind of impurity. You see, it's like if somebody happens to drop some sand in the sweet rice you will give it up. Yeah. So this is nicely being described here. We'll just read the verse one more time. So only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Any question? Kamsa. Many times? Not many times, all the time. Yeah. Okay, anytime. Yeah, yeah, anytime. Yeah. Kamsa. He was very unhappy that Krishna was still living. He was in anxiety that Krishna is still around because anytime that can affect me in a very bad way. Because that he remembered that omen, that prediction, yeah, that the eighth child of Devaki will finish you. So, because his thinking of Krishna was unfavorable, so he was not able to develop the ecstasy that one who thinks about Krishna favorably naturally develops. Yeah. He was not a happy Kamsa. Yeah. Every day you try to come to Mangalarti all the time. Yes. They went inside. Yeah. So the question is, how to develop the kind. One has to increase one's desire. Did they put cow dung in the floor? Oh. Yes, some, yeah, okay, the floor is nice, but we need to put some kind of little cow dung, uh, just because, yeah, sprinkling, yeah, that's fine, okay. Yeah, because it's, it will be purified in that way. Yeah, that's fine, okay. So the idea is that, yeah, mourning is always a big challenge for those who are not fully self-realized. So that means that a majority of people, majority of devotees, um, especially in the beginning, and it may continue for a long time, struggle with the wake-up time, you know. And therefore, one needs to um, increase one's determination to actually not give in. Um, Prabhupada would, of course, give the example of his Guru Maharaj, who would state that we have to beat our mind every morning with a broom, and then in the evening also with a shoe or something. Both in the morning and in the evening, especially in the morning. So we have to develop, we have to increase our determination to rise on time, and everyone, most people need a clock to wake up, and unfortunately on most of the clocks they have a snooze option. You're telling me snooze, right? So it's better not to put the snooze on, because then you end up not only snoozing but sleeping, and sometimes heavily sleeping, and then all of a sudden you hear the conch shell. Oh my God, I'm still, yeah. Or maybe sometimes you don't even hear the conch shell. Deep sleep, deep maya. So it's a question of you see, no one else but ourselves can become regulated, isn't it? No one but ourselves can become very uh, strict in following and rising at the time we're supposed to rise. So therefore, the responsibility falls upon every individual person. So we continue, uh, you know, one, even though one may not always be successful, one continues in one's endeavor and attempt, and gradually that will become more fixed up, gradually, yeah. So not only we should start on time, but we should also finish on time. Yeah, yeah, because it's like when demigods appear. Um, Nowadays they don't appear. In previous times, it was not unusual for demigods to interact with humans, but they would stay for a very short time because they're busy people. So devotees are also meant to be busy people, so we should not be wasting time. And therefore, one of the best ways to not waste time is to be, very regulated. Mangalarti starts at a certain time, class starts at a certain time, finishes at a certain time, etc., like that. Yeah. Jai Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki Jai.